So I did experience some technical issues while watching For the Love of Progress 3 the other night, and that was completely on my end. The Wi-Fi was dropping, my phone would not connect to the Wi-Fi, so if some of these things come across as a little bit vague, it's because I was watching it through like a grainy VHS filter from the 90s at points, and it just so happened to be towards the end, so that's what that is. Bit of a nightmare. Hello and welcome to FTTR, I am Hugh McQuaid, and today we are talking about For the Love of Progress 3, count it, 3. We have had 3 of these shows so far over the past 3 years, and they have been hella fun as a lead-in to For the Love of Wrestling convention in Manchester, and this had some cool stuff on it. This was a fun little show. I don't think it was the best Progress show I've seen in a while, but I do think it had some really strong points, some really strong matches, and a main event that I loved, but if you are a Jim Cornette, you probably hate. But I can't wait to talk about it because it was so much fun. But before we dive into that, please subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below, and I'll try to apply to every single one of them as we dive into this. So we had a little bit of a break. The last show was unboxing, the end of December. We have had a month off of Progress, and the first show back is For the Love of Wrestling, which is sort of leading to the next Progress show, which has some big matches like Tate Mayfair's versus Luke Jacobs, like Miko Satomura versus Riho, and this it wasn't a filler show, but this was definitely, we're on the road to, and we're going to further some of these angles, like Tate Mayfair's, like Nina Samuels and Kanji. There was some really cool stuff on here that I thought furthered stories. I think the match quality was really good. A sleeper hit for match of the night for me. But yeah, overall I just had a really fun time with this show. I liked seeing one called Manders. I liked seeing Richard Holiday. There was a lot of cool stuff on this show, and I want to dive into it right now, starting with Jerry Bakewell, who is just incredible. He's so good at what he does. He's such a good host. He's done such a good job of taking over the role since Simon is now an in-ring competitor. He always makes the opening of these shows incredibly entertaining. And then we got the opening match at the BEC Arena, Subculture versus the Young Guns. Now, this is a main event if ever I saw one, and it is opening the show. These two teams, Ethan Allen and Luke Jacobs, and Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews, two of the best in the UK. And going up against each other, I thought their styles worked really, really well. You've got the big, technical / bruising style of the Young Guns going up against the more flashy, sort of high-speed offense of Subculture. And I really liked that they told that story here. It was a bit of a standard match. You had one man getting worked over and then making the hot tag. But there were some spots in here that I just thought were really, really well executed. My favourite being Flash Morgan Webster and a Luke Jacobs combination. That is a pairing that I want to see a single match for because they had really good chemistry. My favourite bit was towards the end of the match where after a really cool hot tag, really cool tag sequence where they've been hitting headbutts and everyone, and Flash Morgan Webster does his sort of hands up headbutt to Luke Jacobs. He goes for it again, puts his hands up, and Luke just clocks him with a clothesline. That was perfect. It was so well executed and got a massive, massive pop out of me. And then you got into the sort of closing sequence of the match where it looks like there's going to be a Subculture win. They're on top, but then they miss a dive. Ethan Allen pulls Luke Jacobs out of the way, and then they start double teaming. They've isolated, I believe it was Flash Morgan Webster. I will double check that, but they've isolated Flash Morgan Webster and they're just laying into him, destroying him, and then they hit the awesome Pele kick and pile driver combination for the 1, 2, 3. It was such a fast-paced, hot way to open the show. I had a really good time with this match. I love seeing Subculture. I love seeing the Young Guns. Luke is he's the best in the UK right now. And I love what he's doing with Tate. We'll get into more of that in a little bit. But this was such a fun, high-octane way to open the show. Next up, we got a match between Lana Austin and Holly Barlow. Now, this match I was really surprised by because I don't know anything about Holly Barlow. I didn't know what to expect from this other than potentially a Lana Austin sort of squash. But after her match with Emerson Jane, I was a little bit trepidatious. I was like, maybe they are going to go in a different direction. I really liked what was done with this match, and that is that Lana Austin just can't put her down. Lana Austin hit so many big moves in this match on Holly Barlow, and Holly Barlow would not stay down. She would not stay down for the 3. And the sort of arrogance and the cockiness of Lana Austin was ultimately nearly her undoing, because we got a similar spot to what happened at Vendetta when it was Emerson Jane versus Lana Austin, and nearly a fluke roll-up win. It was so good. It was so well executed. You had a low blow from Lana Austin, which was nasty, and that was what ultimately led into the near full spot. And then Lana Austin throughout this match has been hitting big move after big move on Holly. She goes outside for a chair, and that's where you get the low blow spot, as the ref takes the chair away from Lana, and Lana just kicks Holly as a low blow. And then she's cocky, she's celebrating, then she nearly gets rolled up by Holly, which is really cool, and it leads to a headbutt and a lariat from Lana Austin. Lana Austin does pick up the win. I thought this was so well done in gaining momentum for both Holly and Lana Austin, because Lana Austin's coming off that loss, and Holly has established herself in there with a big name like Lana Austin. I really loved how they put it together. I thought it was a really cool way to tell a story and really get over Holly in defeat. So yeah, I'm really impressed with this. I can't wait to see the next feud that Lana goes into. I don't know who it's going to be. Nina Samuels is taken up. Rio's seemingly taken up with Miko Satomura. I'm not sure who it's going to be. It's going to be interesting to see. Next up, we got Lycos Jim taking on Nico Angelo and Connor Mills in a tornado tag team match. This was really good. I really liked these teams working together. Connor Mills and Nico Angelo have a really great look, Lycos Jim or Lycos Jim, and the sort of heat and the aggression that was in this match, I really liked. This really felt like we are building a blood feud here in the tag division, and I really liked how that played out throughout the match, with people getting isolated, with you've almost got them at the beginning sort of not copying each other's moves, but they are doing similar moves and both teams working together as a tag team was really well done. You had a great back and forth between Mills and Lycos, Kid Lycos, which I really liked. You had the ending sequence in which Kid Lycos hits a great spike DDT, I believe on Connor Mills that one was. You had Kid Lycos 2 hitting a Spanish Fly, I believe on Nico Angelo, and it kept building and building. It was very high octane, and then you had the finish. It was a double submission spot. Both men were on the ropes and both teams did not let go, which led to a no contest. Interesting. It did get booed at the event on the stream that I was watching. I get it. I get protecting both teams, and I get that this feud is going to blow off in a big way. So I don't hate this. It's not the worst double finish that I've seen, or double sort of disqualification count. You know what I mean. I didn't hate it. I thought it worked well considering the match that we're getting at My Own Destiny, which is Nico Angelo versus Kid Lycos. So I think, yeah, I don't necessarily have an issue with it. Maybe I'd have had an issue if I was watching it live, like in the building, but watching it at home, I was like, okay, I see what we're going here. Now, if the build doesn't pay off and we don't get a good finale to this feud, then maybe I'll think differently on this. But overall, I didn't hate this. I really didn't hate this. Next up, we got for the Progress Women's Championship, the new champion, Nina Samuels, taking on Emerson Jane. Now, if anyone's been keeping up with my channel, Emerson Jane, I'm a big fan. I've been watching a lot of her stuff from North Wrestling. Her match with Leon Slater was incredible. And putting her in there with Nina Samuels, who is a heat magnet and is really good at getting heel heat from the crowd, I think is a really good call. They had a really good match here. I really like this match. This was probably my match of the night between this and the main event, but for two completely different reasons. I was a big fan of everything that went on here. I thought that Emerson Jane was really athletic. She was really good. She was really outclassing Nina Samuels in the early going. It starts off with locking up, chain wrestling, and Emerson Jane is just she's outworking Nina Samuels, and Nina Samuels had to step up her game to go toe-to-toe with Emerson Jane, which I thought was really, really cool. You had the awesome sliding German combo from Emerson Jane, which is just a sliding German on the apron, hits a slingshot cutter. Then it looks like in this match that Nina Samuels is kind of being outclassed. She's had a few moments where she's worked over Emerson Jane, but she gets the upper hand as they're on the top rope, and Emerson Jane's in a tree of woe, and she just yanks the hair of Emerson Jane, pulls her off the top rope. That is enough of a distraction for Nina Samuels to hit the Starstruck and pin her for the 1-2-3. It was a really, really good match. I really liked this. I'm excited to see what we get from Nina Samuels, because Nina Samuels, after this, she got a promo on the women's division. She's taking over. She's going to beat Rio's record and all that. Who should come back but Kanji? These have history. These people have history to Kanji and Nina Samuels. So I think that this match, should it take place at My Own Destiny, will be really, really good. Like, these two are sort of like the destined to do it forever kind of thing. I really like the pairing of the two, of Kanji and Nina Samuels, and it's a really good challenger for Nina Samuels to establish. Yeah, I want Kanji to win because I bloody love Kanji, but I don't think Kanji will win. Yeah, I'm excited to see where we go from here. Up until this point, this show had been like firing all cylinders. I was having a really damn good time. Then we got the intermission, and then we came back to one called Manders taking on Tate Mayfair's. Now, it's so unbelievably weird to see Tate Mayfair's being a babyface, because I'm so used to him being a heel. But he was really good in this match against one called Manders. This was a clash of styles that it's weird. It's weird to look at. You've got obviously Tate Mayfair's and all his sort of pageantry and his showboating going up against a tough, hard, grizzled, cowboy-like character like one called Manders. And they worked really well together. They had a hard-hitting, pretty brutal match at times with chops galore, hard-hitting strikes, and Tate picking up the win. Now, I think we all knew that Tate was going to pick up the win because he's going into the match with Luke Jacobs, but he got a surprising tap-out victory on one called Manders, which I think is interesting going into the match with Luke. I can't wait to see how that plays out. Maybe we'll get more teasers of Luke potentially tapping out and him being outclassed in the submission game by Tate Mayfair's. But the angle after was what I really, really liked. The angle after he's cutting a promo is Tate Mayfair's. He's showing respect to one called Manders, and then we get the beatdown. It is a beatdown from Luke Jacobs. He comes to the ring with a chair. He starts beating down Tate Mayfair's. It's a really well executed beatdown. Gets the mic in hand and says that our title match is going to be no disqualifications. So coming up this weekend, no DQ match between Tate Mayfair's and Luke Jacobs. It's going to be awesome because Luke Jacobs, I think, shines in everything, but in the no DQ matches that I've seen him have, his ones with Spike Trevay and his one with Masato Tanaka, they're excellent. And I think this is going to be extremely brutal. I think it might be a lot of blood, but I can't wait to see where it goes from here. This was a really cool match, and I hope to see one called Manders more in progress. I really like this tour that he's doing, and yeah, I hope he comes back because I smell Super Strong Style 16. The next match that we got was Man Like Doris taking on Richard Holiday. Now, I didn't know a thing about Richard Holiday other than I think he wrestled for GCW. I think he's a GCW guy. I had nothing about him. He's really charismatic. He is a charismatic man on that microphone, and after Man Like Doris makes his entrance, he has the usual Doris entrance where he's getting the crowd involved, he's hyping up the crowd. It's amazing. Richard Holiday comes down, cutting a promo, and it's fantastic. He's such a well-spoken dude, and him getting his comeuppance against Doris, and Doris just calling him like a pussyhole and stuff like that. I was like, okay, this is what I like to see. This is the clash of styles that I like to see. And they had a really fun match. This was really, really good. This was the match where I was experiencing the technical difficulties, so it was a bit grainy and I couldn't work out a lot of what was going on, and I also couldn't rewind it, so apologies in advance. But yeah, I enjoyed what I saw from this. It's always good to see Doris work, and Richard Holiday I think is very interesting. He's very old-fashioned in the way that he works and the way that he's a heel. And I thought it worked really well with Darius, who's an organic babyface, fast-paced. It was really well executed. Man like Darius picked up the win. That's the right decision. I'd like to see... I don't know what's next for man like Darius following this. Maybe Atlas Championship Darius could always be a potential. Him going up against Axel Tischer would be interesting. Yeah, I'd like to see man like Darius in the Atlas division if he's not going to be in that world title scene going after Luke again, because it seems like that feud has been completed. So, yeah, overall this was really, really fun, and I want to see more of Richard Holiday and more of man like Darius, please. Then we got the main event for the Progress Proteus Championship match as Simon Miller defended against Charles Crowley. Now, the Proteus Championship, for anyone who's new to Progress, and you've made it this far through the video, props to you. The Proteus Championship, the champion gets to decide the stipulation. And Simon Miller's is that the fans can vote on what they want the stipulation to be. And the fans voted for the stipulation to be, you have to win with a WWE finisher. So this match was a lot of teases of WWE finishers. Now, if you don't like comedy wrestling, if you don't like fun, this might not be for you. But this was really good. This was really funny. You had Simon Miller going for like an attitude adjustment early. You had Charles Crowley immediately hitting a sweet chin music and tuning up the band. So many different references and Easter eggs, and I think it's fitting to do this on the eve of the biggest wrestling convention in Europe, because you're celebrating all these different people. You had teasers of a jackhammer, pedigree, you had stunners in there, spears, there was just everything going on, and you're counting which different wrestler was doing what move. I don't think Crowley hit sort of any of his own moves. I think he was just doing other people's. You had a really funny spot where he goes to pin him with a roll up, and Simon's arguing that it's the most dangerous finishing move in all of WWE, because everyone gets pinned by a surprise roll up, and he's like, can't deny that. I loved it. It was so funny, and it ended with Simon Miller picking up the win, as he rightly should. It was a send the crowd home happy, fun, entertaining affair. And yeah, I had a really fun time watching it, and it capped off a show that I did enjoy, but it's not my favourite Progress show in a while. I feel like I do feel that way about these for the Love Progress shows. I think they're really fun, but they don't necessarily have I don't think the atmosphere helps in the BEC arena, having been there personally and been to one of these shows. I don't think the atmosphere necessarily helps, but it was good. It was really good. It was a solid, I would say, 3.5 out of 5 show. I enjoyed my time with it. Now all eyes are looking towards My Own Destiny this weekend, where you've got Miko Satomura, Tate versus Jacobs. Just announced is Will Cruz versus Simon Miller, and Nico Angelo versus Kid Lycos is going to be on that show. That show is looking stacked, so all eyes are focused there right now. But I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Are you a fan of this show? Are you not? Let me know, and I'll try to apply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.